Welcome back to The Educational Currency. I'm Robert Namoski, proprietor of the Coaching College and Ultimate Jiu-Jitsu.
And I'm Chris Kaladikis from Maximum Education.
And I'm Kate Pentecost from the Educational Currency and the Coaching College at Rockdale. And today we are talking an A to Z guide of all things tutoring.
Anything you want to know about tutoring or ask? Well, Chris will be that spokesman for you.
Yes, sir. I'll be the voice of questions this week because I'm with two experienced, amazing tutors from our areas covering the realms of mathematics and English. And I think it's something that a lot of parents go through. And Kate came up with this idea. Let's actually get it out there. And I was like, that's fantastic because I myself as a father and, Rob, you're a parent yourself, but obviously a lot more experience in this area. It's something that comes up quite early. You know, we think of kids training, using tutoring in high school and getting prepared there. But the game starts a lot before that and for a variety of reasons too, isn't there?
Yeah, usually we get a lot of inquiries from kindy, from year one. But unless there's you feel they have a need looking at that, I'd more recommend speech therapists, keeping them active, more professionals just to make sure the child is in line with where they should be. And with our centre, we usually like to take them on from about year 3 and onwards.
Yep.
Yeah, so this is where year 3 and onwards is where they begin to reason things. They begin a slow academic transition, making their way to the end of primary and then stepping into high school. But if you're worried about your child before year 3, I would recommend a speech therapist probably. Yeah.
And I guess that's kind of one of the first factors that we've got to think about for parents, and you guys might have heard this. What are some of the reasons people initially want to start tutoring? Like we've already highlighted, to start your academics, we said other reasons might come up. What might these reasons be?
Just general confidence, a lack of engagement in the subject. So naturally my area is in English. So you might have a kid who just doesn't want to read at all.
Yeah, I mostly just accelerate them.
Yeah.
Get them really good. Get them, like Kate said, super confident.
And if they're missing particular basic skills as well. So if they just can't, if they're in year 8 and just can't get their head around a paragraph, it's time to send them to English tutoring.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I will say, have you guys seen a bit of an influx with the younger ones too? Because like my daughter's age group, they were the year group that started kindergarten in 2020 and year 1 in 2021. And it's funny that their learning's a bit like Swiss cheese because obviously, we had remote learning and they did miss out on things. So are you starting to see a bit of an influx of younger people doing tutoring, kind of doing that catch-up? Because that's one of the reasons we had to look into it ourselves.
I am noticing with the younger high school kids, so the year 7, 8, a little bit of 9, because they were in middle primary school when that happened. There's one slight aversion to homework, which is also a bigger conversation of, is homework worthwhile doing? Do mum and dad want to do homework after a day of being at the office? Can they even help with homework?
Yeah.
But also the kids, they're scared to try.
Yeah.
And it's kind of, I find it quite across the board of just kind of getting them to, come on, just give it a go. It doesn't matter. It's a test paragraph. That's what you edit to get to be better. Whereas the year 10s, not so much. So I think they must have, missed a little bit of skill building.
Yeah. I know it is apparent at quite a number of year groups. And I think another thing that's kind of come out of it too, and Rob, you kind of alluded to this already, sometimes there's a diagnosis behind it. And you've already kind of been saying that, go to a speech pathologist or in those cases. How does that get presented to you? Do you have people saying, are you able to help my child with something like dyslexia or dyspraxia? Like what would you recommend in those cases?
If it's a dyslexia or dyspraxia, they've been diagnosed, look at the NDIS programs. They can fund that. And a speech therapist, someone specializing in that field is what you want to go to.
Yeah.
Now, once you've spent a little bit of time with that person in that field, definitely bring them into tutoring.
Yeah.
But it's not, for example, teaching, someone with dyslexia mathematics in year 7, I won't be able to fix the dyslexia. It won't alleviate that.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah. So working with a professional, then acknowledging there's a problem, working with a professional to alleviate that, and then tutoring will be successful. But just tutoring on its own, when there is a problem, I would, even coming from a person who runs a tuition center, I would not recommend that.
Yeah. And I find the kids who have the ADD, that means they find it very hard to focus.
Yes.
Even if they're just sitting there quietly in the chair, sometimes their mental...
There's a lot more going on inside.
There's a lot more going on, and trying to get them just to focus down onto a task. There's some success that I've had with study skills.
Yeah.
But again, if they don't have that specialist foundation, there's only so much I can fix in an hour a week to catch them up when I'm already trying to catch them up from school and build those foundations from school. It's like doing double the work.
Yeah. But a specialist does allow you to actually make your work successful.
Yes.
Yeah, without the specialist, our work would not be successful. We just have to acknowledge that from day one.
Yeah.
And it can get difficult when parents are in denial that something's wrong.
Yeah, that's another.
And that's where we can get the brunt of it.
And I've even seen that at an at-school level in the realm of wellbeing and working with diverse learning too. Hints are kind of given, or actually stated that, you should look into this, and families for a variety of reasons, even traditional beliefs or whatever, they do find it hard to accept that information, but it's only going to hinder your child if you don't look into this. And like getting assessments in those areas are quite expensive too. But as you said, if you do get the assessment, then you can get support too, both externally and at schools too. And I think as well, with your set students in that category, sometimes it's good to go to the school and get their recommendations what to do. Because oftentimes schools have programs running too to help students who might have a diagnosis behind them as well, as opposed to just trying to solve it yourself.
And some schools have really great intervention programs and in-class support teachers and funding for that as well. And that can also sometimes even give the teacher extra time or resources, if depending on the school funding, to actually develop extra things for your child to help target them. And that can all work in with the tutoring as well. Yeah.
So you can attack it from many angles.
I will say if they're in year 9 and year 10, it's vital that they get the diagnosis then if you want extra provisions for year 12, because you can no longer, from what I understand, get special provisions in year 12 if you don't have that prior history for it. So, and, if you are dyslexic, dyspraxic, there's a range of accommodations and issues and different accommodations that the HSC can do to make it easier for you. And that's no shame.
No, of course.
That. Yeah.
And I think even if they are diagnosed, I think in 9 and 10 too, they want you to get it reevaluated as well. So even so be aware of that too. If you've got a diagnosis already, your child's got a diagnosis, make sure that they do get reassessed in 9 and 10 to ensure they get that support, because I think that's a part of that new change in policy too.
Yeah, because again, teachers that I know who've worked in welfare positions or even been at the front line of English and history classes, they've kind of said like, oh, when was your last checkup on your child's diagnosis? And it's like, oh, in kindergarten.
Yeah.
Okay. What have you done since then? Oh, bit of tutoring.
Yeah.
It's not so much fix your child, but you haven't empowered your child to work with what they have. And I say that as someone who themselves is dyspraxic and had that diagnosis as I went to school and had to be checked in periodically at school and had the extra provisions for year 12 and then had to, when I went to uni to get the extra provisions, had to do a whole another set of testing.
Oh, another layer to it altogether.
Yeah, another layer.
Wow,
And had to take my mum's lovely big folder to the psychometric test to say, yes, you do deserve a bit of extra writing time.
That's actually really good to hear, because I never even clicked in my head with tertiary education, but they'll give you adjustments too.
Yeah. But unless you had a recent diagnosis, it was kind of like that catch-22. Recent diagnosis or show just cause of a long-term diagnosis. There was kind of like no middle ground of in between.
Oh, that's excellent, but that's good to hear.
Yeah, because I think certain schools have taken advantage.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, and that's why. I mean,
and that's also why they changed the system, because some schools were telling their students how to game the system.
Game the system, get more ATAs and
as humans do.
Fair enough. But then
Yeah.
we have the other end of the scale as well. We do in children. We accelerate the child as well.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I've had students who, I bring them into tutoring in year 8. They're doing very well. I put them in the year 9 class.
Yeah.
So now they're learning.
Yeah.
So instead of being bored at school, they come in the tuition center. Year 8, they're doing Pythagoras theorem. They know it well. Year 9, we're doing trigonometry, the ratios, etc. Keeps them engaged.
Yeah.
So that's another aspect of tutoring as well. That you'd probably say, we could say 75% of our students fall into that category, where we get they're bored at school. They're obviously doing all their work and they want that bit more extra help. It doesn't become more extra help. It really gives them the advantage stepping into year 11 and 12.
It's a head start.
Yeah.
It's a skill build. So if your child is, better at a subject, could be English, maths, especially year 7 to 10 English and maths, well, accelerating them in that or giving them more information to learn makes the information makes the subject more interesting. A tutor can make it more relevant to them and can actually give you the skills when you step into year 11 and 12 and get the very high end of marks.
Yeah. And you've actually highlighted a reality of the education process too, especially when it comes to the HSC, that obviously every student in the States is doing the HSC, but there are students who take tutoring so that when they're in year 10, they're doing the HSC course, aren't they? They're already going over the HSC course. And then when they do get to year 12, well, they've already done it once already.
I think, on average, I think 75% of students go tutoring for the HSC and on average 2 subjects.
Yeah.
So, as a year 11 and 12 teacher, if you scanned across the room, especially mathematics, 3/4 of the room goes to tutoring.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
And I've had to say that at a wellbeing level too, like when students are stressed or they're not studying enough and they're looking at their friends and I go, you don't know what your friends are doing outside of school.
Yeah.
You have no idea how much study they're doing and what tutoring they are accessing. And it's a part of the game, isn't it? And that's it. And accelerating is now the new thing. Acceleration is a big thing right now.
It can be a 2-edged sword.
Yeah.
Where the school I'm working at now, I see the benefit, but then you also see, it can have a downside effect as well.
In what way? Is it just too much?
Too much pressure. Too much. Sorry. Already in a second, but also too much concentrating on speed running through the work rather than getting a deeper understanding of it. Yeah.
The pressure comes from the students. I'm an accelerant or I'm accelerated at tutoring, maybe at school. Some schools offer it, not many. Others in the tuition center. And now they're not actually performing as well on the work they're given at school. So you could be in a year 8 maths class and then your tutor's giving you year 9, year 10 work, but you're not getting the marks in year 8 that you should be because you're doing all these other extra subjects in maths that, you're not actually doing enough work for the content that the teacher's given you.
Yeah.
So the content your teacher's giving you is your primary focus. And this is where a tutor that's actually accelerated a child has to double check. So with my students that accelerated in year 9, I'm checking on their year 8 work. What was your mark? Okay, what did you get? Okay, you need to do more work for you to maintain this level. And that's usually an encouragement. It's not a place where you come down on them or you're not doing enough homework, just because you're in year 9 when they're doing year 8 maths. Take them back to their year 8 level of maths and get them to do the work. And most of them, when they're accelerated, do enjoy the subject. I don't see a child that's accelerated that actually doesn't like the subject and doesn't want to perform well. So that's another thing you've got to be careful of, sending your child to a tutor that does accelerate them, that the tutor does check up on what they're doing in their current year. And I have seen some cases where it hasn't worked out as well for some students. And one, to his credit, I mentioned it to him, mentioned to the parents, and within a month they fixed her and the kid actually came first.
Oh, that's good to hear.
Yeah, in year 8, he came first and I went, oh, wow, congratulations, big high five. It was a really big win for me.
Yeah.
And you look at this child and go, he's actually working quite hard, but he's doing all these extra mathematics from year 9, year 10 to help him then, but is not achieving the level he could be in year 8.
Yeah.
And this went from like an 85% to a 96%. So even for high-performing kids, you got to watch that. I mean, you think of them, always use the analogy, think of them as high-performing athletes.
Yeah.
You wouldn't overtrain your athlete and then watch them burn out. And this can happen with tutoring and education as well.
And again, you need to differentiate and engage them in target skills just as much if they're on the advanced side of the spectrum as you do if they're on the I need to catch up side of the spectrum.
I don't, English is different. Maths, I don't like the child to feel they're catching up. Ever. Ever. They come to the tuition center, they sit down in front of me, okay, and the parent goes, can you assess them? And I particularly don't want to. And they're going, but why you don't have an assessment? I used to years ago, but I just found it stresses the child out. I want to see how they learn when they sit in front of me. Then I know how they'll perform. So we could start something, and I say year 9 algebra, I put the work up, the theory is explained, examples are given. Of the examples, they get to follow questions in class. Now, can he follow the questions that I've given him in class? If that's a tick, I don't see any issues. Get a little bit of homework done for me, come back next week. And so then you get your success and wins. The wins are, I have learned this information I didn't know before, and now I feel confident in it. So when the teacher does it, or the teacher's done it previously, the student feels that they've got that in the pocket. And usually with tutoring, this is my personal approach, I don't always like to do what the teacher's doing in class. I either like to do it just before or just after. So then whatever gaps there are in the child's learning from the teacher at school, tutoring can fill them up. Or if I can do the topic before the teacher does it, the student all of a sudden is staring at the board and paying attention to the teacher. And this is when the teacher begins to notice. Previously, such and such wasn't watching the board. Now their eyes are glued to what I'm doing. They're actually paying attention because they know what's going on. And then you get your wins. And I tell a parent always, how's he going? What does the teacher at school say? So my biggest indication putting my tutoring hat on is let me know how your child is going by your teacher's reaction from school. That's the effect I want to have. Otherwise, in a tuition center, I can tell you how your child's going. Fine, they're all quiet. They all sit down. They all do their work. The atmosphere is very different in the center. But the best feedback you get on how your child is going is the actual teacher at school. This is what tutoring should improve.
Yeah. No, that's good to hear, and to be able to that it becomes visible at school that the teacher can see the change, and that the student almost feels like they're consolidating what they're learning if you've already taught it, and that's what encourages them too. I was going to ask too, because obviously you do a specific model here in teaching, although you're teaching different subjects. What are the different types of tutoring that is available?
Well, I could tell you the best type and the one you should send your kid to.
I wonder what he's going to say.
Just kidding. Hey, no marketing here.
None at all.
I don't need to put a link.
No, to put a link.
Maybe at some point. I will say maybe. We'll give him that. We'll give him that.
Yeah.
That's right. But what would be some different?
You can
I know friends of mine that run tuition centers.
Yeah.
And I met a nice lady at
your former school,
at my former school.
Yeah.
And she runs a model of, she employs a lot of tutors in there and they have one-on-one sessions.
And they're usually like recent HSC students, aren't they?
Yeah, they're recent HSC students, and if your child can gel with that young person, they could see a good level of success. That can be hit and miss sometimes. I've seen really, really good stories, but then I've seen cases where they've built a really, really good relationship with this young person at university. University studies gets too much for them and they pull out on them.
Yeah.
And then you have to build a relationship with someone else. And
depending on young people.
And this does not go well before the trial.
Yeah, hard times where their load's probably picking up at university as well.
Yeah, February, March, that comes along, I can't do this anymore, I need to do my university studies. And your child, all of a sudden, okay, you're looking for someone else to fill that gap.
But they do give one-to-one in that scenario.
One-to-ones depends on what your child likes.
Yeah.
Now, in my case, with mathematics, one-to-one is, okay, I can show you something. You can answer some questions. I can show you something with those questions. I may be able to show you a little bit of theory. Okay, the hour's gone. And it gets quite expensive.
Yeah.
I mean, when you're paying a professional teacher, actual teacher to sit one-on-one with your child, I mean, you go, how much can they actually do? I've had a lot of success in a small class scenario, because in a small class scenario, you can get different students from different schools. I could have a student from, I've actually had one class, had 2 students from an elite selective school, had 1 student from an elite private school, and had another 5 from public schools. And they all gelled well together. So then the scenario is you're creating that atmosphere in the room for learning. And nothing facilitates better learning than the actual students working together. And when they work together, you get the atmosphere in the room where everyone's just getting it. And then they want to come back next week because of the atmosphere that you've created as a tutor to facilitate that learning environment. And for example, in my case, the way we run our tuition center, that's what we pride ourselves in. We have professional teachers, very experienced people that actually teach the children. Now, it's a problem because of we run so many classes, we are so busy, we cannot offer one-to-one. And I don't particularly want to say employ other tutors to give that one-to-one because our reputation is on the line. So we've got, like Kate, Nick, Doa, myself, Lucinda, people who specialize in that one subject and just predominantly get better year by year slowly at it, find ways of getting your child to improve and then actually how to get the marks in the HSC for that subject. So this is something that is a skill, and actually no one does it better than someone with experience.
Yeah. And like you said, you make sure you get those qualified educators for it. And I think, that's fair. Exactly what you said, that you're targeted at group tutoring sessions, which is actually how I prefer teaching. I can't stand small group tutoring sessions, because I've dabbled in tutoring myself a few times, and I can't stand teaching one-to-one. But I do acknowledge that there is a place for one-to-one too, when a child has very specific needs or needs support or needs focus or needs their own work evaluated too. But I prefer the dynamic, and maybe it's the teacher in me, of obviously, small. I'm obviously in the classroom doing larger group, but I can of small group, building up community and collegiality amongst your students
and discussion as well, and kind of encourage
which bounces well in English, doesn't it? When you're analysing things,
and even just again, like, make it a safe place for the kid to ask the questions or ponder the things that they, for various reasons, won't want to ponder in their class at school.
But does it fit that child's needs? Parents may not be able to make those times.
Oh, that's it.
There's sporting commitments. There's other things that they commit to, and they may want tutoring, just a little bit of a side help. So there's nothing wrong with grabbing an intelligent university student and giving him that one-to-one. But you do get what you pay for.
Well, that's actually a very good point to make too, because I'm not sure what the average price for a tutor is right now. And once again, a one-to-one tutor versus a group tutor. We have a current tutor for my daughter, one-to-one, and we're paying $90 an hour. And so is that the average? Is that above? Is that below?
Depends.
Depends.
What
you want.
She is very experienced. Like, she's a retired teacher, and she's amazing. And I might even try to get her on here one day. But that's... I'm foreseeing that. Is that the average right now, $90 an hour?
Getting a retired teacher for your daughter at $90 an hour is a bargain.
And for one-to-one as well.
Absolute bargain. I mean, $90 an hour would be a university student. Say at a centre, the centre may take a $10, $15, $20 cut. Pay the university student, say $50, $60 for their times, because marketing, rent, etc.
Of course.
Involved in running the business. But a retired teacher would be fantastic for a one-to-one. That would be the best one-to-one option, I'd say.
Yeah.
It's good choice.
The best
Tina,
one,
we did it right on that one.
Yeah, the best one-to-one option, I would say, would be a retired teacher. That you retire, you still got a passion for teaching. The classrooms could be a bit too much. The classroom management just gets too tiring, and you just don't want to do that part anymore. But you still enjoy the teaching process. Yeah, they are gems.
Yeah. And so then what prices are you looking at in small group tutoring? Are they comparable?
But we're still going to the price of some one-to-one professional teachers. I mean, you think about into the corporate world. What would you pay an accountant for an hour?
Oh, yeah. I think I know exactly what you mean.
Exactly.
An accountant would be $200-$300.
Yep.
I mean, I've had people really ask me, what would you charge one-to-one? I'll pay you a price, etc. Now, obviously, I prefer the classroom, and unless it's an extreme situation where, let's say if they can make it a little bit earlier, the kid's got a certain needs, and I think I can really make a difference with your child for my own personal intrinsic motivation to get this child moving. Yeah, there could be a chance I would do that. But I haven't done that in a while, obviously now with working at the school. But, I've got a friend of mine that works at your school, and that could be $150 an hour.
Yeah.
Now, it sounds like a lot. Why am I paying $150 an hour for a tutor for one-on-one?
Yeah, but
this is a professional.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a professional person that you're taking an hour of their time. I mean, anywhere else, you go to a professional, $150 an hour, lawyer would be a bargain.
Yeah. You're paying for their training, their HECS, their resourcing.
Yeah, and the level of 5 years of university.
Yeah.
Now, anywhere else, you wouldn't think twice of giving an accountant $300 for the hour of work. A lawyer would charge you in 6-minute lots, $550 coming up to $500 an hour. I mean, this is your most precious child.
Yep.
Yeah. So if you do want a professional teacher to come in for one-to-one, I'd say about the $150 mark an hour wouldn't be a long shot, and it would be a fair price.
Yeah. Oh, look, you justified that very well. And it's funny, and I might be about to plug myself a bit here, but I'm contemplating dabbling in a bit of online tutoring for the new enterprise computing course, because it is a brand new course. But the reasons you said, I reckon I know the syllabus really well, and I'm one of the textbook writers. So then I'm trying to think, what is a fair price I would charge these students? And those factors you said, I think a lot of educators need to think that we are professionals, and in the tutoring game too, there are people who are not teachers and nothing against university students either, but they're coming out and charging a relatively high price too. But we've got to remember we are professionals, and that's what we're all about in this podcast, aren't we? Empowering ourselves as educators. All the parents are going to be annoyed right now because I'm pumping up high tutoring and charging. But if you want something good, you get what you pay for.
I was just going to say you get what you pay for.
Yeah.
If you pay your tutor the same as a retail worker per hour, are you going to get the same standard as someone that you're paying, an accountant or?
But
exactly.
It was an accountant that rang me.
Yeah.
Oh.
And it was, no, I'll pay you one-on-one. I go, look, I can't. I've got class after class after class after class. And he went, oh, no. I get back from work. The son finishes a sporting event. We want a tutor from 6:30 to 7:15 because then at 7:30 we want a dinner. And I went, okay, so how was that possible?
And were they local?
Yeah, they were local. Yeah. And I went, okay, look, I said to him, oh, great. No problem. I'll come at 6:30 and to 7:15. But you do taxes, look, I'm busy during the time. Can you come on a Saturday at 5:30 p.m. and have them done by 6:30 because I need to go with my wife and I can book you in for my tax returns.
Yeah,
that's and he went quiet on the phone, and I went, you do understand we're both professionals talking to each other here. I wouldn't say that to you. Please don't replicate that back. And he went, okay, fine, I understand. And if I wanted someone like that, I'll go to a cheaper accountant that would travel and do that. But in this case, you do get what you pay for. So, but again, a one-to-one session, do you really need it? I mean, is it really beneficial? And actually do try a university student. If that's your budget, there's great success with them. I'm not saying that they won't do a good job. But just be aware that that student may pull out on you. That person who's a 19, 20-year-old, got a 97, 98, 99 ATAR, did extension to maths, now is coming to your home to tutor your child, may be great for your child. And you'll see a great success. But always be aware that it is a very young adult doing this, you know, and test the waters. But like everything else, as teachers, we are professionals and we need to see ourselves as professionals. And I think in my case, I went the other way around. I went from being a professional tutor where people did see me as that to stepping into the teaching world. And in a classroom, I have to admit, it is harder to deliver the material. I mean, in a school, you have a lot of things backed up against you that makes it more difficult. You got the classroom management. You've got, say, an hour or a 50-minute period. The kids line up outside. You got to bring them in, settle them in. They sit down. They could have had another exam before where they're pretty tired. They could have had a sporting event where they're pretty tired.
Friday afternoon.
Period 5 Friday afternoon period, you know. So as a high school teacher, there are all these other elements you need to get right before you're able to teach. And I really saw that with, in tutoring, I've done all my notes, everything's prepped, I rewrite them every year, I make them relevant, etc. And it was the same course, the same material. In an hour and a half of tutoring, I went through more than 3 lessons at a school. And then one of the lessons I had to repeat it because they just came out of a science or an English exam. And now you have to tailor it to the school. So it is harder for the teachers. It's not fair to compare your teacher's level to your tutor's level because in your tutor's level, you make an effort to go there.
Yeah.
If you're misbehaving, thank you for coming. Do not come back. And it's much more difficult for high school teaching. So if there are any tutors out there that, you know, bag the teacher out, they don't know what they're doing, maybe you should come into the profession and step into their shoes and see how well will you perform in that environment. And that will actually make you a better tutor.
No, it's great you highlighted that context too, because you don't want to be teacher shaming too, and especially when a lot of parents are like that they're taking their child to a tutor, and obviously there's that frustration that there's a cost associated with it. You know, the idea they're learning nothing in class, but you've just given a lot of reasons why the class might be more disruptive or just they can't learn in the same time span, because of all those disruptions and just time of day and just the whole context of the school environment. Whereas in a tutoring environment, yes, it's specific, it's controlled. You can say, yep, see you later to someone who doesn't belong in the environment. And yeah, people are there by choice and it's visible. This money is for this hour.
That's right.
You better make the most of it.
Yes,
Okay?
That's right.
yes.
Yeah.
Actually, one of the best improvements I had at tutoring once was I had a girl who wasn't doing the homework. And after about 3 weeks of gently saying, can you do this? Can you do this? One day I was a little exasperated and kind of went, your parents are paying X amount per hour. And she was a math whiz. And then she went, oh, so that's that much per term. That's that much per year. Oh, I better do the work. And then she did the work.
Just talking numbers.
Yeah.
Oh, you're kinder than me.
Oh, what did you do? What do you do, Rob?
You do.
I turn around and go, you must be my best friend. He goes, why? Well, my mates usually, I take them to lunch, they buy lunch, and, I buy them lunch. You're giving me $80 to just look at me.
And what a sign.
It's a really embarrassing sign.
Yeah.
But I still find a way. So then I turn around to the student and go, look, every Saturday, 12 to 5, we have a study center at the back. So we do still offer that, it's not so much one-on-one, but if you say a child gets stuck on a maths question, there's myself and another tutor that helps me, walks over, shows me how to do the question, and they continue with their work. Now, I turn around to the child and go, look, just come to the study center at the back. Okay, they didn't turn up. All right. The following week, okay, look, you're still not doing your work. 2 ways we can do this. Just get downstairs, tell your parent you're not coming anymore. You're just not interested.
That would go down well. Yes.
You just tell them, look, you're not interested. This is not for you. I mean, come on, man, you're burning your parents' money. This is not working. Better you have that conversation. I don't particularly want to have that conversation with your dad because I actually knew the man.
Yeah.
Right?
You know everyone, Rob.
You know everyone.
Then the student actually makes his way into the study center. The dad couldn't believe it. So he gave him the money, he caught the train. His dad popped up to take a look and make sure that he was here.
Keep an eye.
And I walked outside with the dad. I went, hi, just making sure, do you need any more money for lunch? I can't remember if I gave you money. I had a chat to the parent outside and he went, I can't believe it. What'd you do to him to get him in here to study? Now, of course, I'm not gonna, I want it to be a positive experience for his dad. I don't know. He said he wanted to just do his work. The kid's staring at me now, going, well, I'm not going to, this is, you decided to come. You decided to come. You decided not to tell your dad they don't want to come tutor anymore. You decided to come. And, the kid continued with his work. Okay, off we go. We saw the results. So that could be something where that pressure, I expect to see the work.
Yeah.
But you got to do the work first.
Yep.
Then get the results. So as a parent as well, even with my own kids, I want to see my children work, not results.
Yeah.
The results are just a moment in time that passes after you work. And in the work, you'll find it interesting. Whereas I've seen students that chase the results. They do the results just enough to show their parents the mark, get their parents off their back, and okay, I'm free now. And those results plummet in year 10, 11, and 12. They may be good for year 7, 8, and 9, but there's nothing intrinsic about your learning.
Yeah.
It's all just, what's going to be my next exam?
Yeah.
Okay, this. What's going to be my next exam? That. Learn it quickly just to get a good mark and take whatever pressure the parent is giving you off the back. So my advice to parent is make them work.
Yeah.
Make them work through the work and actually, encourage them from the work. The results, it was good. Yeah, it was good. Well done. It wasn't too good, but that's okay. Did you see what happened? I think you rushed it. But yeah, I really like the way you put the work in. Now, if you do that with your child, that's when the results will come. Otherwise, there's a lot of parents where you could be hindering their results by, why don't you get a good mark? Why was the mark so low now? There is nothing in what you're saying that will improve that. So be careful with parents. I know it gets a bit frustrating. I've had results as well where they come in and it's like, okay, I know you could have done better. And then I revert back to, well, how much work did you do? Did you do the tutor's homework? I had a case recently where I didn't quite do the homework. Well, focus on doing her homework first. What was your English mark? Well, I think my daughter got something like a 19 out of 24 or something, and she was used to higher marks. Well, maybe the two are, could be correlated there.
Yeah.
There could be a correlation between one and the other. So just focus on the work.
Yeah.
And even if, let's say, she's done all the work and she brings back a lower mark, will not affect me.
Yeah.
Won't even be a blimp on, why was the mark so low? It'll be a question of, wow, I really liked the way you put that work in. What was interesting about it? What wasn't interesting about it? What happened in the exam? Was there any stress in the exam? What feedback did the teacher give you about the exam? I completely missed this. I should have written that. Great. Move on, But don't make the child absolutely nervous before they even sit the exam to show you a result.
Yeah.
Because it may work for a short period of time, but when it doesn't, it's a train wreck.
Yeah.
You've got to be very careful of that as parents.
And that point you made too, that goes beyond tutoring too. That you reward the effort, not the result.
Yeah.
And sometimes that sets up a child for failure too, because I've even seen it when they do come in year 7 and they've got the academic skill and they perform very well on exams, but you said it, once it comes to years 10, 11, 12 and you've got to get a bit deeper and you have to study, well, that's where they've almost been set up for failure. But rewarding effort, and I try to do that with my children too, when you see they're working hard, well, that's the praise. And whatever mark comes back, the mark comes back there.
Yeah, exactly. One of the things I did at the end of last year was I tallied up for each of my students how many extra hours of how many hours of English tutoring they had done over the year, and printed up a little certificate and gave it to them. And the ones who'd come just about every week, they had in effect done 40 extra hours.
Wow.
Yeah.
And when I pointed out to a few of them, you have to do 100 hours of English this year at school. You have done almost an extra half a year's worth of English by just coming just to this classroom, not including the extra homework. Well done. That's a lot of extra effort.
And
that
those
adds
40
up.
hours, like Rob
They
just
tally
said
up.
before too, it's more in the tutoring session because it's more focused, targeted, controlled environment. So 100% right. Yeah, they've gone, nearly half amount more than everyone else.
But kids who do that do strive academically.
Yeah.
So if your child is, say, coming out of year 6, they enjoy studying. It hurts when they get a bad mark.
It does.
And it's, for a child, this is when you know, okay, is my child academic? Not by ability. They get a mark from school and it hurts. They didn't like it. It did not feel good.
Yeah.
Okay, you can work with this child, regardless of their ability.
Yeah.
If they get a mark from school, they're not really bothered by it. You don't have to be academic, to enjoy it. There's other avenues in Australia. We can make a lot of money, have a successful career and a happy life. But the biggest indicator I've seen with the years I've worked this job is if the child is actually adamantly, upset with their mark. Okay, bring them to tutoring.
Yeah.
We see the greatest of results is from the child's reaction, not the parents pushing.
Yeah. Well, it's just like training, when you fail at a sport and you want to do better, you got to put in the hours. And in that case, tutoring is those hours.
That is life.
Yeah.
That is life. And I think it's not just in this field, in any field as well. When you're intrinsically motivated, you will get success. And I think they've done a research study on kids with that were drawing for lunchtimes. They walk into lunchtimes, the whole room was full of kids that were drawing. And they enjoyed it, and the teacher would show them how to draw, etc., until they started giving stamps for better drawings.
Yep.
3/4 of the room emptied out.
Yeah.
Because now, I received a stamp. I may not receive another stamp. This drawing is getting a bit too hard now. Do I push myself to do it? Do I really push myself to do it now? There's a pecking order in this, and maybe not.
That's what happened with me on Duolingo the other week.
What do you mean? Well, what was the context there?
It's a natural.
They have the league tables, and I had been on one for about 3 weeks, and then I finally kicked up into the next league.
Yeah.
And I did it the first time I went into the Pearl League, from Amethyst to Pearl. And I tried really hard and did all the exercises, but just missed out and got demoted back to Amethyst and felt crap.
Yeah.
And then about 3 weeks later, got back into Pearl. And then everyone I don't know how much they were doing Duolingo, but their XP scores were so high. So, of course, I got demoted back to Amethyst. And I was like, you know what? I'm happy to sit here for, I think it was a further 6 weeks, just to hone my skills. And like my ambition to get into Pearl was like, they're not worth it. And then this week I kicked up into it and I was like, I don't want to be there.
It's quite a vicious cycle
there, aren't you? Yes.
Yeah, it's actual stress. Now, don't get me wrong. Stress is good when it's internally driven.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Internally driven. And you have to actually want to learn the information.
Yeah.
This is important. So if it's just maths to do the algebra and get the marks, but then when you ask, but where did the algebra come from? Or how did that theory come about? And it's the thing I do teaching in the tutoring and at the school. So how do you do this question? Great. That formula, can you prove it for me? What? I don't know how they get it.
Yeah.
And they're all staring at me, going at the board. I don't know, someone try off the board. Here, come up.
Yeah.
One person drew a triangle. The next one, I gave them a hint. Okay, we understand the theory.
Yep.
Now, if you find that interesting, that could lead into a career with mathematics. If it's just there to get a mark, sure, we can do that too. You don't have to have a great interest to get a band 6. You just got to, know the material, repeat it, grind it down, and you can get that band 6. But then later on, you really haven't developed an interest in it. And as a teacher, I kind of feel like I failed you. Yeah.
The English version of that is, particularly in the seniors, going, I just need to write my essay. But you haven't engaged with the text. You haven't done your class notes. You haven't done your tutoring notes. You haven't consolidated them into your own study notes. You haven't tried to do a few practice paragraphs. You've just gone off what your teachers said, and you don't understand why you can't spit an essay out because you haven't
done the work.
You haven't done the work.
You haven't done the work.
You haven't done, and then you've prepared an essay for a particular question, and then you get thrown a different question in your trial papers, and you go, "Oh crap, I couldn't answer that." And it's like, yeah, because you didn't learn the content.
It's so funny.
You didn't build the skill.
Yeah. This is a tangent, but it's what you're describing. Like I saw a video on social media, and it's like when they ask Miss Universe a question, and they've got their planned answer, but the question doesn't relate to it, and then they're just speaking to whatever their planned answer was in a big tangent, and obviously it sounds horrible. Well, to that type of student, that's how their essay is going to read to a marker. So you can't just have this stock essay and not be engaged with all the background stimulus that's related to it. You got to get that foundation understanding so you can be dynamic with whatever's on offer and then maybe integrate what you've got prepared there.
It's like when I do Shakespeare with my juniors, have to do a particular block at school. A particular time of the year. I'm like, okay, we're going to do 6 weeks of Shakespeare. And the first 3 weeks is just all historical context of what was William Shakespeare's world. Because otherwise you don't understand why he wrote the plays the way that he did. And it might feel like I'm not getting into the crux of Romeo and Juliet, but once you understand how his stage worked and that his plays were on in the middle of the day and that, no, they didn't have lighting and they had to speak to the audience, then suddenly, even just a big thing last year, I played some videos to the kids of what they're pretty sure reconstructed the accent sounded like, because the English accent was different then. So then suddenly the rhyming and the rhythm of the language and the words comes out completely different, let alone getting all the jokes, because there are jokes in Shakespeare.
Not all tragedy.
yes. Well, some of the tragedies have some very funny bits in them, but yeah.
So there's the many historic layers to it, and obviously it changes the delivery and everything.
Yeah.
But that's what would build an interest.
Yeah.
Well, that's right.
Yeah, that's right.
Exactly.
I mean, a student would be fascinated by that world.
Yeah.
And then be intrigued by it. And then the story would have a bit more of a meaning. And then they can relate the story back to their life.
Yeah.
It
Or even just
stimulates that
explaining
interest.
what thee, thou, and thy, all those kind
I
of
still
like
don't
words.
know what they are. Sounds like something from the St. James Bible.
Actually, no, the King James Bible was from that time.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
I remember reading it going, for thee God created.
Yeah.
Oh, wow, Shakespeare.
Yes.
Oh, gee. Well, look, you mentioned it before too, Rob, actually. Homework. What does tutoring homework look like?
I'm careful with the homework because I'm careful with the work from school. Now, I give enough to highlight what I've given. And I ask them to do it at a time when it doesn't affect the schoolwork. Now, if they've reached a point where, let's say you haven't done it, feel free to come in on a Saturday and just get it done at the back. Or come in a little bit earlier or later and sit back and get it done just to make sure that we're on track learning the theory. Because then eventually at school, you will have to get these questions done. So whether you do them now or you do them after, once that student builds a nice understanding straight away, they will get the homework done. And there's nothing easier than getting it done quickly. So if the tutoring's on a Tuesday, you have a English exam on Thursday, don't worry about it. Try a little bit on a Friday, come in on a Saturday. If, you finished your tutoring class, say 5:30 to 6:30 on a Tuesday, give me another 15 minutes at home or sit at the back for another 15 minutes just to quickly really understand what I've given you. The earlier you understand it, the more it sinks in and the easier the homework will be. Homework is a nightmare when the teacher's checking it on Monday, right? You've spent 2 weeks at school in class not really paying attention. Then you rock up with, the teacher's giving you all these notes. And, God, I've spent 3 hours, I can't get it done. And you get letters from parents at school. Why are you giving my son too much homework? I think that was the first problem I had.
We've heard that story. And I remember how those letters end up.
Yeah. I had 7. I couldn't believe it. Where I'd give the work at school. I'd give a little bit of homework. Now, do I check it the next day? No, but slowly get it done for me. Ask me questions. I give you a little bit more work on a Tuesday. Explain the notes. Give you a bit more work. We roll it out. Thursday, Friday, I give you a summary of the week. Make sure we're all on par. And I'll check the homework on Monday. So it looks like I've given all these exercises that are due Monday. They're not given on Friday. And then I think I had 7 year 7 mums give me letters as to why they couldn't do the homework, because they went out on a Sunday night, because they had something on to a party. And I describe myself as the most inexperienced teacher at a school you'll find. So I put those letters across the table and I turned around to the year 7s, this was my first week at a school. So, mummy, hold your hand when you cross the road. You're in high school now. I don't want to see this anymore. What's the mummy going to do for you, right? You know you couldn't do sport, maybe not English. How many notes have you got in that pocket? I scrunched them all up and binned it. My poor head teacher.
Yeah.
I felt so.
I feel it.
I felt sorry for her. I didn't know. I thought it was okay. I'm not in the tutoring center. Okay, this is a school. Thank God nobody rang to complain.
Yeah.
And if they did, would have been great, because then I would have explained to the parent this and this and this is the procedure. Can you please follow it up? And off we go. And to a credit, one parent did, and this was quite an academic parent, was complaining about the homework, the work, etc. And I don't prefer emails. I prefer a phone call or a Zoom meeting, or a face-to-face is usually the best for me, because they can react my reaction. I can judge their reaction, and we are here together to work for the benefit of your child. And I just literally rolled out the same thing. Monday, please get your child's book in front of you. She pulled it in front of you. Okay, Monday, there are the notes. There are the examples. That's the question. There are the notes. There are the examples. That's the question. Can you please follow what I'm doing every day? Just get them to give me half an hour of work on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Give me about half an hour on a Saturday, half an hour on a Sunday. Now, like Kate did a calculation, that's 4 hours. Well, half an hour, half an hour, half an hour, half an hour. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Well, that's 2 hours. Give me another hour on a Saturday. That's 3 hours. Well, 3 hours, 10 weeks, you've done 30 hours of math homework in 10 weeks, and you've done it in short blocks where you can learn. And I think this parent felt a little bit embarrassed, because their job was a very high academic job, I saw. And we were all on board. Great, no problem. Her son topped the class at the end of the year. And it was literally, I got another phone call, and I had to say the truth, tell to the parent, great, it was you that did it. Oh, thank you so much. No, thank you for, just responding to what I said. I just said a 5-minute conversation. She followed it up with her child and this was, it was a real big win for me back at where we used to work together.
That's it.
And it's one of those things where, as a parent as well, follow up what your child's doing.
Yeah.
We had a situation where, my daughter is academic, but she didn't follow up on her English homework because of this, because of that. Okay, great. I'm not complaining about the reason, and the reasons were justified, but there's the result.
Yeah.
And internally it hurt, and she caught up on her own, showed the teacher that the work was done, etc. And you do allow them to make those mistakes. They're not going to be perfect robot soldiers for you. And I've seen students walking very nervous about that too. How much homework is there? Okay. Is that all I have to do? Okay. Can you tell my mum? Because that's all I have to do. And I went, okay, this is not working.
Yeah.
This is not working for me. And sometimes I even tell the parent, back off.
Yeah. And it's that's what you highlighted before too. And probably with that case with your daughter, the frustration of seeing the mark is that intrinsic motivation. And it's funny you referred to it with English.
The mark was okay, but apparently wasn't for her.
But you could tell she was frustrated with it and wanted to do better and knew she could do better. And I was going to say, because in the realm of English, and we'll just speak about homework, it's probably slightly different there too, because preparing for the English tutoring classes, there does have to be some earlier reading and preparation to maximize their time once they do get to you for that period of time. What would that be like, Kate?
I try to keep it on the lighter scale of things. And I try not – I don't punish the kids when they don't do the homework. And I try not to be disappointed. If I get disappointed, I'll call the parents.
Yeah. You don't bin their notes or anything, do you?
No, this is the parents.
No. But my spiel now is to say to the kids, I'm never going to be angry with you for not doing your homework in this room, because that's not what the homework is about. And I'm not your parent and I'm not your school teacher, but I'm setting the homework to help you build your skills to consolidate what we have learned. And quite frankly, I've done my HSC.
Yeah.
I've gone to uni. I've got 2 degrees. I don't need to do your homework. It's for your benefit. But that said, if the homework doesn't help you, if it is confusing, if it's taking too long, talk to me. It's fine. I'll work through it. So my main component of my homework is just for my juniors 10 minutes of reading a day, and for my seniors 15 minutes. Sorry, I say a day, most days. They can do like 5 to 6 days a week.
Yeah.
But the main part of that is I have a conversation with them about whatever they're reading. And through that conversation, they think I'm just being friendly with them and interested. And I am interested in who they are.
Naturally.
I'm doing oral discussion of what's the characterization? What genre is your book? Does it play to the tropes? And kind of slowly build a bit of that analytical side. I don't have as much luck with getting the kids to actually do some practice writing. But I will say one of my seniors I've been working with for 18 months, he's really come through. It took about 2 terms for him to see the benefit of doing the practice writing. And actually just this week he handed up a practice imaginative creative story. And he was really eager for feedback on how do I improve this. And apart from a spelling and grammar check, I said, you just have to show your English teacher because I can't really think of anything right. Like I was quite blown away by his effort.
It's a skill.
It's a skill.
Slow skill.
Yeah.
This is what I'm hearing from English. It's maths as well, but maths you can kind of highlight 2-3 topics and prepare. English. Yeah, you gotta slowly develop it.
You gotta slowly, and I'm starting to get through to my seniors of start with a paragraph. If you can't write a 3 to 5, 8 mark short answer question, how are you going to write an essay? But your essay is just 3 of those paragraphs back to back. So do a whole heap of short answers. We're not up to trials yet. When next term in trials, then you start doing all your practice essays.
And that's where it's a journey, isn't it?
Yeah, that's stress then. Because then they, like I said before, they care.
Yeah.
And if they care, if the student cares, very easy to tutor. No matter what their ability.
The one other thing I do is for my juniors, I set creative writing homework in the school holidays. So they get a little booklet with like 3 activities. So they only have to do like 1 a week, 1 and a bit. And that starts with a half-page creative writing, a 1-page, and then a 2-page. So it kind of builds as they go. And the first few times that I handed it out, they kind of like half the class did it and then like 2/3 did it. And then most of them did it for the spring holidays. And then it came to Christmas and they're like, oh, where's our booklet? I'm like, no, you don't get one now. And they were actually like, oh, I was looking forward to that.
That's good. They started to enjoy the activity.
Yeah.
That's what we want.
So that and it was nice seeing them start to get excited of, oh, I did it.
Yeah.
I had fun doing that. So, yeah.
Well, look, that's good to hear. And you can clearly see that the students are enjoying what they do with you here. Do you guys have any pointers to how can you tell from a parent's perspective when it's working and when it's not? Like what gauges it?
Nothing gauges it better than your teacher in class seeing a difference.
Yeah. Nothing
gauges it better. Now, I've always said that even before I was a teacher at a school, because such and such wasn't paying attention. Now they're paying attention.
Yeah.
The teacher notices straight away. Oh, all of a sudden their exam goes from a 65 to an 85. The teacher notices straight away. Teachers notice the room. And now, for example, in my case with maths, let's say we've done trigonometry before. they're looking at the board. Wow, I get this. They're paying attention. Now the other kids around are looking at it for the first time. Well, there's clearly a massive advantage in that, and then off you go from there. Or you're doing it after the teacher's done it. You're filling in the gaps. It comes to an exam, teacher notices.
Yeah.
So the best indication is your actual classroom teacher that sees the difference with the student, and don't turn around to the classroom teacher and go, "Oh, my tutor taught me everything."
Yeah.
It's not even close to
Thanks.
that. Thanks. If it wasn't, if it wasn't for my tutor, well, as much as I do like the accolade. I mean, they're your teacher at school.
Yeah, and once in their own context, in their own scenario, trying their best.
If the teacher wasn't teaching you anything, let's say, God forbid, you've had a list of casuals that weren't maths teachers. Okay, you weren't taught anything.
Yeah.
But if a teacher's there in front of you, they're putting stuff on the board. Now, you may not like the teacher. You may find them obnoxious.
You might be distracted by your friends.
By your friends.
That's not your teacher's fault.
You might not get their teaching style.
That's right.
Yeah. But it's different in maths, especially when you've done the work before and the teacher puts it up. And it could be a teacher that didn't like you before. You perceive that didn't like you before. But then all of a sudden you're paying attention to the work.
Yeah.
Or then even better, show your friend next to you.
Yeah.
So teacher walks around and sees that you know the work. You could have been disruptive. You could have annoyed the teacher for a whole term. But then term 2 comes along and you're helping your friend. You're doing the maths. Classroom teacher notices this before anything else.
Well, they're like an independent body almost. That's what I see. What about on the reverse side? What would you do in a scenario where you kind of feel like it's not working or the parent's getting a vibe that tutoring's not working? What would be your recommendations in those cases?
I'd like to know why. I'd like to see, is it oversporting your commitments? Like what's happened? I've had situations where they're just doing so much sport that please look, they're learning something. Please look, I'm just not feeling, the work's done enough. How much study are you doing? Like the parents sat me down and went, look, this is the time we have. It fits us perfectly. He is learning stuff off the board. We have such a heavy sporting commitment that, he really enjoys coming to the class. And I went, okay, great. There is a benefit in that. If there was a situation where I just didn't even take the student.
Yeah. You could see it in their body language. I think you mentioned to me before.
They came, I like to talk to the parent beforehand. They sat there and mum with the daughter sat across. The mum's talking about tutoring. The daughter's breathing hard, eyes are rolling, looking at the ceiling, can't even sit next to a mum while the mum's inquiring about tutoring. Nice lady. And I said, this is what we're going to do. Any questions? And she's just got that look on her face of like, I don't want to be here. And it was a bit harsh. I rolled the chair over to the daughter and I mimicked her actions back at her. So I rolled my eyes, I smirked, looked at the ceiling, this and that. And I go, so how are we going to do this? Is it possible for me to teach you like this? You tell me. And the mum went red in the face. Now, if she's like that here, I'm sure she's like that at school. So there's other issues that that we cannot fix. And it just won't last. It's different, coming into the center, wanting to learn, not even knowing your times tables in year 8. Let's say you walk into year 8, you do not know your times tables. By the end of the year, you will know your times tables and there'll be an element of work that you will know. And that gives you that intrinsic motivation to, okay, I can do this. You don't have to be the best. You don't have to be accelerated. You have to be a genius, gifted. A genius gifted, I've still yet to meet one. Everyone else works hard.
The grit.
It's all grit. I mean, even in selective schools, it's grit. A genius child at 12 years old, probably the university professor grabs him and does experiments and tests. And
exactly.
They're winning maths competitions internationally, etc., etc. I mean, this is it's like a super athlete tennis player at the age of 9. Djokovic is going to be the next superstar. But that's, more people win lotto than have those abilities. Everyone else enjoys it, puts the effort in.
Yeah.
And if they're not enjoying it, you see the cracks later.
Yeah. I was going to say though, obviously here at the coaching college, you guys are amazing. They're perfect here.
The coaching college, come down.
And obviously we're seeing the passion there. Let's say there's another place that child's being tutored, and the parent feels like the child's not doing well, and it might be and once again, I'm kind of referring to my own experience here too, that the place where they're getting tutored at isn't really catering to their child. What are options there?
I would first speak and see what the tutor sees. So instead of going there going, it's not catering to my child, what do you see? What is that? What are we missing?
Yeah.
And then see their perspective, because they could give you a perspective that maybe someone else hasn't seen.
Yeah.
And then decide whether that environment is suited to your child.
Yeah.
But do ask them, because they've had contact with your child.
Yes, of course.
They've spent time with them. There could be an element where they say, they're not quite getting understanding this, they're not quite understanding that. And then you could judge whether, is this place or is this person, beneficial for my child?
Yeah.
Now, what they're telling you is from their perspective, and it might ring an alarm bell for something else.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't just write them off as, it's not working, they don't know what they're doing.
Yeah.
No, it's always good to get their perspective and just ask in more of a positive way, and ask as well what they're doing well.
Yeah.
So, they're doing something well. The person's been teaching them. There are elements of work that they would have learned. Then there's other elements that they're missing.
Yeah.
And then as a parent, you can take that information and make a more informed decision.
Yeah. Well, look, it's interesting you say that, because I mentioned before too that my child's current tutor, experienced ex-teacher, and she's really getting to know her, and she's very dynamic with her. But the previous tutors was almost the opposite. They were for an institution. They were much younger, and pretty much they were teaching my child, this is what we do this lesson. This is what we do this lesson. This is what we do this lesson. They refer to the program as opposed to that dynamic nature of getting to know my daughter and all that. I think that's something.
I meant to mention that earlier when you said different types of tutoring.
Yeah.
The other thing, apart from one-on-one versus small class, is then you have the centres where it's small class, but they teach to a set curriculum.
Yeah, and this was one-on-one as well, but it was set curriculum.
Set curriculum.
Yeah.
And that could even be, I've had a friend who's done tutoring where she'd teaching tutoring. She'd turn up on a Saturday, get given the booklets, and that's what you're teaching today. And she couldn't take the booklets home. She had to hand them back in at the end of it. And
so very structured.
Very, very structured. Yeah. And so she didn't have to do the extra prep for her classes. But again, comes down to, I think, parents' expectations, knowing your child, and then also what else is happening. Is it a thing like, do they have dyslexia or ADD that needs to be addressed, or something else? Could even be something as basic as hearing issues, visual issues, if someone's squinting at the board too often. And sorry, train of thought. Give me a second.
Just some of the needs of students you were mentioning.
Needs of students. Thank you.
No, you're welcome.
Needs of students. And I always make a point when I get a phone inquiry to ask, what are your expectations? Because that's a good way to kind of gauge.
Nobel Prize laureate.
Yeah, exactly. Do you expect to take you a D range student and put them into an A range?
Yeah, how realistic.
How realistic do you want them to be? How accelerated do you want them to be? Do you want to be setting all the lessons and I'm just doing your packs? Because I've kind of almost had that as well.
Yeah, you're being micromanaged by the parent.
Yeah, wow. Very rare occasion. Most parents are just grateful that you're taking the time to look after their special little cherubs.
Yeah.
99% are, but you will have that difficult parent.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And it's always a case of pushy. They push you with the tutor, they push you with everything else, and you go, nah, stop.
Yeah, a bit like welfare at school. The pushy student, the pushy parent is a giveaway.
Yeah.
Don't be the pushy parent.
A pushy parent may work at a school.
Yeah.
it does not work at a tuition center.
As opposed to the communicative parent.
Yeah.
The parent who's just talking to you, that's different.
Yeah.
Oh, we want parents to come.
Yeah.
It's very important.
Yeah.
I when they walk into here, I want them to come in. I want them to see me. I want them to have a chat. You know, sitting the student down, sitting the parents down, getting the parents to interact with me while the student is in the room gives me a great indication of the relationship we're going to build in the center. But on your note back, there are centers where if your child's had 7 tutors this year for maths, the center's churning over tutors.
Well, that's it.
Yeah,
They're spreading them in, and that's why they need to have such a strict curriculum.
They've got a strict curriculum because is the person even qualified in maths?
Yeah.
And it's a business.
So there are things to look out for as well
things to
as
look
a parent.
Yeah, I mean, if you find a retired ex-teacher, that's a gem.
Yeah, well, look, it is. That's what I said. She's dynamic, guys. She can relate to so many scenarios. It's amazing.
Yeah, that's someone unique.
Did you notice an immediate difference for your daughter?
Oh, definitely.
When you got the second tutor?
Oh, yeah.
What was the giveaway that it was a better dynamic?
Or
a more suitable dynamic?
The age was a factor. You know, like although the other tutor was younger, you know, she was very friendly, you know, and obviously my daughter did like her as well. It just felt like there was a maturity to this tutor. She knew her stuff and she knew strategies. Now, as teachers know, we go through varieties of teaching strategies, you know, over the years, and it's almost cyclical. But this lady's obviously been through many cycles of it. And she's not that old, okay? You know, and if you're ever watching this, Diane, you're amazing, okay? But she knew what worked, and she's worked with, you know, hundreds of students over the years.
That's a professional.
And that was the confidence behind it. And like I said, a gem in the scenario too. So, you know, and I think that's what helped my daughter click with her. It was the confidence, like she knows what she's talking about, you know, she's really trying to get to know her. And she does use a lot of analogy and linking things to the real world and explaining the stories behind it, as you've been saying too with the algebra, Rob. You know, so all those skills, like she's clearly a master in her craft. Yeah. And that comes across.
Yeah, professional teacher.
Yeah.
There's nothing beats it. But again, with tutoring, does it work for you?
Yeah.
Does it work for you? Maybe you want someone to just come to your home and check your child's homework.
Yeah.
Sit there, watch them do their homework and help them with that.
Maybe,
that's fine.
Maybe you do need someone who just edits your year 12 essay.
Yeah.
No, you
I don't know if that's allowed, okay? You censor yourself in production.
Oh, no, I can make it worse.
Actually, that's probably like calling me in and going, okay, here's an maths assignment. Can you do it for me?
No, seriously, that's what a lot of people expect.
No, and that is an expectation.
Yeah, and I had worked with someone who, when I mentioned that I was doing the English tutoring, they're like, oh, yes, I used to write my students' essays. Yeah. And I was like, no, you edited them. And she was like, no, I just wrote them. It was easier. And I was like,
unfortunately, that is the game out there too to be aware of. And obviously the ethics of it is wrong.
I'm probably less ethical. It just doesn't work.
No. Well, you're setting your child up once you have a failure.
It just doesn't work.
And the exam will prove them and put them in their place.
They'll give them a question. They haven't got the skill. They'll regurgitate an essay that the tutor's written. Yep. The tutor cannot predict the question in the HSC. Won't even get close to it.
No.
Yep.
So your chances of that working are slim to none.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah, it's
totally agree.
Yeah. What about like in situations such as like parent-teacher night, and let's put our teacher hats on now. We do have a student identified as needing help in a particular area. What do teachers need to be aware of when like recommending tutoring to students and parents? Like, how is this best approached? You know, in multiple angles, like they don't want to be undermined as the educator, and also being very sensitive to the student's needs and not getting that kid upset because you're just telling me to do more maths now outside of school. Shouldn't you be teaching me this? Like, how do you best approach this?
I wanted to hear it from your point of view.
Me?
Oh, how does the teacher manage to tell the parent your kid needs
I do it all the time.
You do it all the time?
Yeah, all the time.
You don't recommend them to come here to you straight away?
No. Well, the school I work at, I can't.
Yeah.
But they sit there in front of me. Okay. Are you doing homework? No. Okay. And literally my parent-teacher interview works pretty much the same way. Are you doing the homework? Can you give me half an hour? And something to do tomorrow, not something that's happened in the past. And it's a question of, okay, give me half an hour, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. half an hour on Saturday, half an hour on Sunday. If they're older, give me an hour Saturday, an hour on Sunday. And then we work out, well, how we're going to do that. Well, if I've done the work with you already, just repeat it again. This isn't a, factory shift where you just clock in, clock off. I've done my job and thank you for coming. And I said that to the parent. Check their work, get them to do it again. Okay, for extra help, definitely tutoring helps. You cannot deny it helps because the proof is there in the results.
And it's time. You're giving time to it.
And then someone else to explain it to you in a different way, a different body, voice, can be that stepping stone where you get it. Where, for example, speaking as a teacher in a classroom, I may have explained 75% of it has sunken in. That still just doesn't allow you to finish the question. Now we've gone through it again. You ask me the questions, I'll explain it on the board again. Then the tutor can easily top that up. If you've put the effort in class, the tutor's job is so easy, and vice versa. If you're putting in the effort with the tutor, as soon as you come into class, I can top it up. And now when we work together hand in hand, we get some great results. And we saw that when I was working at the school with us. We were together. The teacher that did the job before left, and I got him to tutor the kids in my class. And the ones he did, we worked together. So it's almost like working, the tutor and the teacher working together for the student. You cannot not succeed. But they should not be working against each other. And I've had some issues with that, where very pushy tutors, giving students aggressively checking the homework. And I went, okay, that's fine. You're paying this money. The person checks the homework, get it done. Now, if there comes a time where you have a test in 2 weeks to prepare for maths, you need to do the work we're giving you. But the tutor will get upset. That's fine. You explain to them that you've got a test coming up, and after your test is done, get their homework done. You obviously enjoy going there. The person teaches well. So if they're very pushy with the homework, you steer it to your positive direction. The tutor, the teacher, the parent, we're there for the child's benefit. And we need to steer everyone and make sure that we are all on that same path.
That's it. Once again, the support network.
You're a support network, not a stress network. Now, especially if the child is studying. Now, like I said before, the teachers, you can put, your school teacher, they will see the results. That's who you check whether your child's improving or not. The tutor will get the child to improve. And now the parent, don't be a blockage as well, where you could be over helicoptering over the top of it, aggressively pushing your child to get these marks. When you do see them studying, getting angry at them will not get them better marks. It would stop them from maybe picking a harder maths topic. It'll stress them out, especially when they are already studying. Now, if they're lazy, absolutely remove the phone, remove the computer.
Because we're watching the effort.
We're
watching the effort.
You push them with the effort. And that's another thing with the parent-teacher interview. Okay, they're studying in their bedroom. And no, they're not.
No.
And they go, what do you mean? They're in their bedroom with their computer. I go, look, I got to walk around the classroom and make sure that they're actually able to do the maths in the computer. You do not let your child in their bedroom with any electronic device and calling it studying. If they're in their bedroom, they want to study, there's the textbook. Here's an English novel. Here's a science book. Stick it on the dinner table. Okay, off you go. And then when they have got their laptops or computers in their bedroom, just realize they are not studying, and that's not a time you associate with them studying. I'm not saying, pull electronic devices out of the bedroom, which you should do just before they go to bed. I mean, it's a disaster if you let them in there with it. And look at the sleep episode.
Right.
Yes, that's a good one we had, and you can look up Matthew Walker's book, Why We Sleep, as well. But when, as a parent, you do make sure that they are studying if your child is academic and they're looking at becoming academic. Otherwise, if they're not academic, they are not putting the effort in. They are not listening to the teacher at school. They are marking up at school. They are not interested in the subject. Okay. And a job that requires for you to be academic is not the job for them. It's a reality that you have to face, and eventually you will face it.
And then what about, like we've talked about the parent taking ownership and monitoring that.
Yeah.
What about from the student side now? How can a student like maximize their learning from tutoring? Like what can they do to best support what they've learned from their tutor to obviously maximize the value that they're getting and show real appreciation for the extra that resources their parents are putting in for them?
Thank you. Step one, don't just do the homework. It's implementing the study skills and growing and honing your study skills as you go. Again, if you're just constantly only doing your English work to the assignment, you're not going to ace the HSC. And this is even in year 9 and year 10. If you're only putting effort in for the multimodal speech or whatever you have to do, you're still not going to build the skills that you need to. You need to engage with the subject. And it can be as simple as like watch a movie and talk about it with your tutor, talk about it with your parents, talk about it with your friends, do a little bit of extra reading. If you've watched a film, look at some of the critical reviews. Like basically come down to being engaged with learning and be happy to learn. And you can learn at your own pace. I always say to my students, you have to learn with your own brain. You know, not everyone's a kinetic learner, not everyone's an audio-visual learner. When I set summary homework, I don't tell them make me half a page of dot points. I just say I want half a page of notes because I want the notes to be done in the way that you need them done for your study skills. And we go over and do study skills. You do it as well in the study timetable.
Yeah, I give them a structured plan.
Yeah.
So there's study skills, there's study timetables, there's ways in which, to approach the question in a certain way. There's approaches to actually preparing for a major exam.
Yeah.
Simple things like start off with the topics that you really like. Give them analogies of, it's like collecting money off a table. Yeah. Whatever's in front of you, slowly put it in your pocket. Don't go jumping for $100 note and knocking $200 worth of 20s off there. Yeah. So it's all these things, putting the brain into place to be able to, regurgitate the information that you've learned, looking at the stress, looking at the anxiety, definitely sleep. Yeah. Sleep patterns. There's a lot that goes on to to predominantly now almost a young adult, getting them ready for the HSC. But even with my year 7 class, with my year 7 class at school and the ones in here, with my year 7 class in here, okay, it's tutoring, it's theoretical, understand the theory, why we're doing this. Now can you mechanically get it more done for me in class? I get them to actually do more work in front of me in class just to make sure we get it, slowly. Then get them to build that, I'm getting this feel where then they're happy to do the questions. I don't really push a lot of homework with the year 7s. I do ramp it up for the year 8s because then year 8 is a turning point in mathematics. It's one of the things, if your child's got a little bit of ability, you have to push them in year 8. Because that's the end of stage 4. Stage 5, we group them into groups.
Yeah, they start getting into their pathway.
And then if you've had a child who was lazy, they get into a lower pathway. That affects your year 11 and 12.
That's right, yeah.
Yeah, it's one of those things where, it's high school now. Things are more serious. And then especially at the end of stage 4, which is the end of year 8, you got to begin to take it very seriously because then in year 9, you can tell who your academic kids are going to be.
Yeah.
And some very few now and then do turn it around, but it is very few. By year 9 rolls over into year 10 very quickly. You're picking your subject selections. I want my son to be an engineer. He's in the bottom maths class.
You'll be realistic.
Yeah.
Expectations.
And then you get jokes with the teachers. Look, I wanted to be an NBA player, but 6'8" wasn't my height. And now it's quite cruel to hear that.
Yeah, but we've got to work with what we've got.
You got to work with what
but even then, I turn around in the tutoring center and they go, okay, you want to do advanced maths? Make maths your number 1 subject in year 10. Let's put a lot of work in. So instead of half an hour, give me half an hour, have a 10, 15-minute break, give me another half an hour, and then possibly a little bit more just before you go to bed. Do you really want to get into that high level of maths to do that job? Does it really interest you? So then you can prove it to the teachers in year 10. The teacher will go, wait a second, such and such is working really hard. Oh, they just missed the cutoff, but they're working really hard.
Yeah.
You can sway your teacher's decision into actually picking the harder level subjects by showing them that you are working.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nothing shows a teacher more than someone doing the work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think, look, and like obviously we're getting to the end now here too, and we've touched on a lot of tutoring in high school, and you know, and like we said, we see it all as face value when we're in a classroom. We know, oh, this kid's smart and he's on this pathway, and we mentioned that there's a lot of tutoring going on in the background, and in primary school. There are some incremental times too when it comes to tutoring. Do you see or hear a lot of kids doing tutoring at times such as when they're going for OC classes or wanting to get into selective schools? Is that a game in itself as well?
It is totally a game in itself. But I will say, if your child hasn't sat a lot of formal exams, and they probably haven't when they're doing the OC and selective courses, that's that one time where a more structured tutoring thing of practicing going through the exam structure, and then even just sitting and doing a concentrated, quiet exam, like, you know, answering 20 questions in 20 minutes is very beneficial to the child, because it's just practice, dry run, building those skills. Yeah.
Look, because the only observation I kind of have too is like the local public school. It has an OC class, and it does feed into selective schools in our area too. But it's funny because you see kids finish the public school, and then around the corner there's like an after school, and they all just flock right in there. And it's just the amount of work happening behind the scenes, you know. And so it's not like the intelligence is a factor, but it's hours, isn't it? It's hours and it's resources and it's learning. So don't be hard on your kids is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, but even getting into a selective school is not the be all and end all.
No, it's not.
Yeah, and even kids in selective schools struggle.
I believe the school system I work in is better than selective schools in developing the whole person.
The other thing too
Actually, on that note, okay, my child's super academic. Okay, great. Put him in a selective school. They're sitting in a class of 30 people. They have, you know, say like myself, teaching extension 2 in front of them. Now, coming back to the schools we work at, they've got the same teacher in front of them, but there's 15 people, 12 people. You're getting a lot more attention. And now you're the academic student in these really good schools. Well, you're not lost in the sea of everyone else in selective. The teachers give you that individual attention. And when we see it in the ATAR marks, now you may turn around and say, oh, such and such a school average ATAR was 98. Is your kid better than average in the selective school? This is something you need to consider. And are they getting the level of attention that they need? Or is it just hours and hours at tutoring centers? So then what are they doing at school? I mean, if you lose that quality of teaching at a school, and I mean, not quality of teaching, I do believe selective schools have very good teachers.
Yes, of course.
But it's different in a room of 30 people. It's different having that same teacher, for example, at the school we used to work at, the current school I am now, and there's 10, 12 people. You still got the same teacher with the same abilities, you know, pouring all that information into your child. So just be careful of saying, oh, my son and daughter go to this school and their average ATAR was 97. Well, understand what average is. Half got more, half got less. So this is something to consider.
Well, it's good you said it that way, because I reckon in our school's context too, there's more holistic, not just academic focus, and that is what you're going to get in.
I'm even talking academic. So even if we break it down to just academic.
I know you're saying look, read the stat correctly.
We can just talk straight out, just straight down academic. Now, when you go to, we're saying the school is academic. For example, we wouldn't say, you know, the school you work at, I work at, is not academic.
No.
It's academic.
But there's more to it.
But there's more to it, and you're getting more academic attention from the teachers.
From standing out and where your position is.
You will end up, if you're a great academic student, more than likely you will end up with the extension 2 maths teacher.
Yeah.
The English department will start noticing you. The science department will start noticing you. The school will turn around and say, well, these are a group of students that will give us the high ATAR. Let's put our attention to them.
Yeah.
Then being in a sea of students where they're all going to get high ATARs.
Yeah.
And then you have to push yourself that little more. So that time you have at school, sometimes selective school might not be the best option.
Well, yeah, and like I've got a friend and who might come on the podcast one day, but yeah, she had experience working in a very, very well-known selective school where very high ATARs. But she goes, when she taught year 11 and 12, there almost was no challenge because through tutoring, they'd already done year 11 and 12 multiple times. But I know you do this too, Rob.
Yeah.
She would throw dynamic questions at them and they couldn't answer them. And it's just, so she still found a way to challenge them there. But I think that's what a lot of people sometimes don't see with the selective school environment. Like people think it is a cheaper option sometimes to going, private or systemic Catholic and things like that. But there's a lot of money going into tutoring for these kids because it is so competitive in those environments.
Yeah, it's stress as well.
Yeah. Big time.
It's stress as well. And don't get me wrong, I've got students a lot of students that are a year ahead in the tuition center, but it's slow. It's paced.
Yeah.
And even if they're at a selective school, and I do get a lot from selective school, I try and take that pressure away.
Yeah.
This is not a competition. If you want a competition, come to jiu-jitsu. I can put you in a competition. Learning is something you want to learn. And I do exactly the same thing, even at the school I'm at. I put a theoretical question up. Can you see it? Do you understand the theory that is going on in the question? Or are you just crunching out question after question in a sort of remote way where you can somehow I see a question, I've done a question that's similar and just model it without understanding it, and you do get caught out. Yeah. So you just got to be careful of that rote learning. And don't get me wrong, at selective schools, there is a very, very high percentage of them that do have that academic gift and ability and are learning the work in a theoretical way. So then maybe if your child is of that caliber, they would thrive in that school. But if in year 6, you've pushed your child year 5, exam after exam after exam after exam after exam after exam, and they just get into the selective school, like we said before when we're picking the school, does that school fit your child?
Yes. Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, whereas if they went to the schools we're at, they more than likely could get a 96, 97 ATAR. Now they're getting a 87, 85 from the stress. And I've seen that happen as well.
Yeah, and some children too are later bloomers. They might have been ready at years 5 and 6, when they're going to perform, but they come into effect and they lock in years, 9 and 10 into 11 and 12. We see it that way there too.
Or even the other way where they're a high performer because they're a bit mentally like IQ ahead of their cohort in 3 and 4 and 5 and 6. But then basically the gap tapers off as they get past year 10.
Yeah.
Just because you're smart in year 5 doesn't mean you'll be smart for the HSC.
Well, that's right.
And the other point I wanted to make for the 3-4 and OC and 5-6 selective thing is it's a lot of pressure, but not every kid who sits the exam can go into an OC class or a selective school class, and it's not the end of the world. And I understand, depending on where you live and your school district, that selective school might be the shining beacon of a better opportunity, particularly if you don't have a big if mum and dad can't afford a private school and the public system
100%.
might not. I was a public school girl, but maybe it's not.
I would say as well, in a public school, a rough public school, we were left with the great teachers. Everyone was jigged.
Yeah, that's true.
So even we had phenomenal teachers at the school, boys.
And small class
sizes.
Small class, your presence.
And the fact that, even in a public school, there are great teachers.
That's
it. Now, when you're academic, you shine even more. So the attention the teachers give you would far exceed anywhere else.
And sometimes it's not even about being in an OC class or a selective class or a selective school. It's about happening to get the right teacher serendipitously for your child. Who just, everything falls into place and your child just blooms.
And it works out well at
Yeah.
the right time
At
and
the
all
right
that
time,
too.
yeah.
And look, and like we're saying, obviously hopefully we're not sounding too negative towards selective schools. No, it's full of fantastic teachers and they are fantastic opportunities. I think what we're just trying to say as well is that the tutoring is often a very big part of people getting into selective schools and maintaining their place and competing.
It's great, but is that school a good fit
Well, yeah,
for
that's
your
right.
child?
It's all about your child.
Yeah,
That is
your
things
child.
you've got to discuss.
Yeah.
Yeah,
This is
of
something
course.
you need to be realistic.
Yeah.
And if it's not,
Yeah.
there could be a problem.
Yeah, no, it's not. Yeah, it's not always the case, and you've got once again got to reach, as with almost any educational institution you're going to put your child into. You know, whether it is public or has a religious denomination behind it, full private. You know,
Yeah.
of course, always the foundation is knowing your child. Just it is picking tutoring locations as we've been discussing, isn't it?
Yes, the coaching college.
The be all and end all. We'll get that
Come
reference
down.
out.
We've got professional teachers that have got decades of experience.
That's it, eh? But look, Kate, anything you'd like to add?
That you caught me off guard.
You're caught off guard.
Yeah.
I think we've gone pretty deep.
No, I think again, just kind of foster that love of learning for your child that suits your child. They don't have to be a genius, but if they engage with the material, whether it's English or maths or anything else, that's the important thing. And their improvement isn't always measured in their mark, in their assessment. And look for a tutor that suits your kid.
Yeah. Oh, look, and what you just said there, and I think Rob said it a few times too, the effort, that's what we're looking at. Effort is what we've got to reward for our children, not marks, seeing that they're pushing themselves, wanting to get better. And if we reward the effort, that will hopefully motivate more effort, and more passion. And it sounds like you guys do a great job in doing that.
Yeah, you have to. And then because you're motivating the effort, then that effort comes into an interest. Then that interest becomes into a job.
Yes.
And then that job requires effort
Yeah.
for you to get skilled at that job.
Yeah.
So you're actually building a life skill here.
Yeah.
And you're not building a mark, and then after the mark, what are you going to do? I don't know. I've got a high HSC mark. Yeah, it's the effort that actually you're instilling hard work into the child and rewarding the hard work.
Yeah.
And then that can take them into any profession.
Yeah. No, that's good. Oh, well, I think we've done a deep dive on tutoring tonight with two experts.
Thank you. And he put the parent hat on and really questioned us well.
Yes.
That's it. I think.
So, thank you very much again. And remember, like, subscribe, and please, any comments, we'll be very grateful.
Thank you very much, everyone. I'm Chris
you.
Kaladakis.
I'm Robert Namoski.
And I'm Kate Pentecost.
Take care.
See you.
Cheers.
Bye.
Bye. Man, that was a
Good stuff, Kate.
That was the longest one ever.
Yeah, new record. But you guys are very well versed in this area.